Hey guys, so my voice is going away. I'm going to try and make it through this video, and it stinks because this is probably the most important concept that you're going to learn this year, and my voice sounds like this. So just bear with me as we go through it. If you will pause the video and write all of this down, you need to know the point-slope form and the slope-intercept form. And those little ones, that y1 and x1 on point-slope form, that's important. Okay, so write all of this down. And then we're going to go through it. Okay, hopefully you wrote it down. Let's do number 1. Write the equation of a line with the slope of 2. I would write this part down. And going through the point 4, -1. I would write that part down. Okay, we're going to start with point slope. That's where you're always going to start when you're writing the equations of lines. Point slope. Point slope is y minus y1 equals m, and then in parentheses you have x minus x1. Now here's what we're going to plug in. Slope is really m, so I know that this -2 is my m, so right here instead of m I'm going to plug in -2. Okay, slope is your m, so I'm going to plug that in there. Then it gives us an ordered pair. Ordered pairs, remember, are x's and y's. And these are going to be your x1s and your y1s. So I'm going to bring this y down. Right here, instead of y1, I'm going to plug in this -1. I already plugged in -2 for my m. And then right here, instead of x1, I'm going to plug in 4. Okay, so take a second and make sure where I plug stuff in makes sense. Again, this is my m. Plugged in this 4 for x1, and plugged in -1 for y1. Now this is almost done as far as point slope goes. The only thing I want you to fix is right here. This minus negative, hopefully you know minus negative really is the same thing as a plus. So I'm going to change that to y plus 1. Then I'm just going to rewrite everything else. So this is your answer for point slope form. See, it's not too bad. Point slope form, you're done. Y plus 1 equals -2, then in parentheses x minus 4. That's point slope. Slope intercept is pretty simple also. For slope intercept, we're just going to take this equation and we're going to solve it. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to rewrite this. Y plus 1 equals -2, and then x minus 4. We're going to solve this for y. We're going to get y by itself. So let's go through that. First step is going to be to distribute. -2 times x is -2x. -2 times -4. Remember, negative times a negative is a positive. And 2 times 4 is 8. I'm going to bring down y plus 1 on the left side. Okay. Next up, to get y by itself, I need to move this 1. The opposite of plus 1 is -1. Now I'm going to put it underneath the 8 because that 1 is a whole number. It doesn't have an x, so I can't combine it with the 2, only with the 8. So I'm going to bring down -2x, and 8 minus 1 is a positive 7. So this is my answer in slope-intercept form. So point slope, you just plug it in, fix your minus negative if you have one. Slope-intercept, we're actually going to distribute and then move whatever is with the y. Okay, let's do another one. Again, from here I would write down that your slope is -4, and I would write down this ordered pair. So let's start with point slope. Point slope is y minus y1, and you're just going to have to memorize this formula. Unfortunately, there's no easy way, and on your EOC they're not going to give it to you. You're going to have to know it. Okay. So again, m is my slope. It's right here. So right here, instead of m, I'm going to plug in -4. In ordered pairs, this is my x1 and this is my y1. So let's plug that in. So I have y minus y1 is 10. In my parentheses, I have x minus, and it's a -5. So there's only one thing to fix. Look at the problem. See if you can figure it out. Hopefully you see right here, this is my one thing I want to fix. So I have y minus 10 equals -4. And then minus negative changes to a plus 5. So this is point slope. This is your answer for point slope. For slope intercept, remember we take that equation and we're actually going to solve it. Now you are going to need to remember the difference. So point slope, you just stop. You're done. It says slope intercept, that's when we're going to keep on solving it. So I'm going to distribute my 4. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times 5 is 20. I'm going to bring down my y minus 10. Okay, now I need to move this 10, so the opposite of minus 10 is plus 10. 10's cancel. And your final answer for slope intercept form is y equals 4x plus 30. Okay, we got another one here. I'm going to let you guys pause it and try this one on your own. I think you're good and can do it. Your slope is 1/2 and your point is 6, -2. So pause it and then we'll go through it. Okay, hopefully you legitimately tried it. So my formula is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Let's plug in everything we know. I know this is my x1 and my y1. So I have y minus -2. My slope is 1/2. And I have x minus 6. The only thing you need to fix is change this minus negative right here to a plus. So your answer for point slope is right here. Y plus 2 equals 1/2. And then in parentheses, x minus 6. So solving it, that's your point. That's your answer for point slope. I'm going to go ahead and solve it from here instead of rewriting it. So this is point slope. Make note, okay? So now I'm going to distribute to get slope intercept. I get 1/2 x. 1/2 times 6 is 3. And then I just need to move this 2, so I'm going to subtract 2. So y equals 1/2 x. And -3 minus 2 is -5. So this is your answer for slope intercept form. Okay, so sometimes there's different ways that they can give you information that you need to write the equation of the line. So on all the 3 problems we've done, they've given you the slope and they've given you an ordered pair. This one's different because they're just giving us the 2 ordered pairs. Okay, so the key thing that we're missing here is the slope. But luckily, you guys just got done with the lesson where you learned how to find the slope between 2 ordered pairs, right? You remember this is your x and your y, and this is an x and a y, and these get 1s, and your second ordered pair get 2s. Okay, well, remember I told you slope was a big concept. You're never going to get rid of it. We're going to see it a lot. Your formula for slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let's plug in what we know. y2 is 1 minus y1 is -10. x2 is -4 and x1 is 3. So we solve the top. 1 minus -10 is 11. We solve the bottom. -4 minus 3 is -7. And our last step, remember, was to divide. So we would do 11 divided by -7. We don't like decimals, so we're going to change it to fractions. So hit math, enter, enter. So your slope is -11/7. Now it's easy. We know our slope. We can go right back to our formulas. Y minus y1 equals m, and then in parentheses x minus x1. And let's plug in what we know. I already got my x1 and my y1 right here. So I have y minus -10. y1's -10. M, we just figured it out. It was -11/7. And then x minus, your x1 is 3. So to finish up point slope, the only thing we need to fix is this minus negative. And that's going to change to a plus. Minus negative changes to plus. So here's your answer for point slope. That's point slope intercept. We're just going to actually distribute and solve it. So I'm going to multiply, I'm going to multiply. So I get negative 11 over 7x. This I don't know, I'm going to type this in my calculator. I always type fractions in parentheses, so negative 11 over 7 times negative 3, right? I'm doing this distribution right here. And that gives me a long decimal. We're going to change it to a fraction. Math, enter. It's a positive, so I'm going to put plus 33 over 7. And I'm going to bring down y plus 10. The only thing left to do is move that 10. So I'm going to do minus 10, minus 10. These cancel. So y equals negative 11 over 7x. This, I don't know, I'm going to do 33 over 7. Again, it's a fraction. I like putting fractions in parentheses. 33 over 7 minus 10. Long decimal, let's change it to a fraction. And it's negative 37 over 7. So that is your slope-intercept form. Let's do another one. All right, write the equation of a line. Again, I got two ordered pairs, so I'm going to let you start. Find the slope. Let's just start there. See if you guys can find the slope. Okay, hopefully you tried it. You got x1, y1, x2, y2. So your formula is y2 minus y1. On bottom, it's x2 minus x1. So on top, I get negative 1. On bottom, I get 5. If you divide that, you're going to get negative 1/5. Remember, you get a decimal, but you should have changed it to a fraction. So now let's plug in what we know. y1 is 7. My slope is negative 1/5. x1 is negative 2. The only thing to fix is that minus negative. So I got negative 1/5, and then in parentheses it's x plus 2. That's your answer for point slope. To do slope-intercept, we're going to distribute. So I get negative 1/5 x. Negative 1/5 times 2 is negative 2/5. Now you look, see I put plus negative. If you just put minus 2/5, that's fine. It's the same thing. Then your last step is to move that 7. So I'm going to do plus 7, plus 7. Now this I do not know. I got to do this in my calculator. So I got y equals negative 1/5 x. So in my calculator I have a negative 2/5 and then plus 7. 6.6. I'd like to change it to fractions. So I got a positive, what was it? 33 over 5. Right, so that's slope-intercept form. I'm not going to do another one of these. I think we're good. Okay, what if it gives me an x-intercept and a y-intercept? Well, again, luckily, hey, you guys just did a lesson on how to write intercepts as ordered pairs. So remember your x-intercept? You write it as 3, 0. The 0 always goes at the end. And the y-intercept, you'd write it as 0, negative 4. And then, hey, look at what we got. We got two ordered pairs, just like the last two problems we did. Here's your x1 and your y1 and your x2 and your y2. So if you'll pause it, go ahead and find your slope. Okay, hopefully you found your slope. It's negative 4 minus 0 on top and 0 minus 3 on bottom. So it's negative 4 on top and it's negative 3 on bottom. And a negative divided by a negative turns into a positive 4/3. Okay, now that you know you got the slope right, I want you to pause and I want you to try and find your point slope equation and your slope intercept equation. All right, point slope should be y minus 0 equals 4/3. And then in parentheses, x minus 3. That's your point slope. That's a minus, not a times. That's your point slope, your slope intercept. We're going to distribute. Y minus 0 equals 4/3 x minus 4/3 times 3 is 4/3 times -3 is -4. And then this 0 we could do, to move it, we would do plus 0. So slope intercept is y equals 4/3 x, and -4 plus 0 is still just -4. So that's your slope intercept. Let's do one more like this. If you'll pause it and try and write your ordered pairs, let's start with that. Okay, hopefully you got the first one is going to be -2, 0. And your second ordered pair is going to be 0, 8. Okay, pause it, find your slope. So you get 8 minus 0 on top and 0 minus -2 on bottom. So on top you get 8, on bottom you get 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. That's your slope. Okay, pause it and do your point slope form and your slope intercept form. So point slope is going to be y minus 0 equals 4. And then x, you're going to have minus -2. I'm going to go ahead and change it to plus 2. Right? You would have had minus negative, which changed to plus. So that's your point slope. Slope intercept. We're going to distribute. So I get 4x plus 8. Right? Yeah, plus 8. 2 times 4 is 8. Plus 0. Plus 0. So slope in, or point slope form, sorry, is 4x, and 8 plus 0 is still 8. Okay, let's look at this one. This one they give me the slope and a y-intercept. So that's good. I don't have to find the slope anymore. And y-intercept, I can turn that into an ordered pair. That's what we just did. So y-intercept of 0, 14. So now here's my x1 and my y1 and my slope. So it's just like the first kind of problems we did. Y minus 14, that's my y1. My slope is 1/2. And then x minus 0. That's your answer for point slope. For slope intercept, I'm going to distribute. So I get 1/2 x. 1/2 times 0 is still just 0. So the only thing left to do is move my 14. So I'm going to do plus 14. Plus 14. So y equals 1/2 x. And -0 plus 14 is a positive 14. So that's your slope intercept form. Okay, same thing. It gives me the slope, except this time it gives me an x-intercept. So again, turn it into an ordered pair. So now here's my x1 and my y1. I'm going to let you pause it and try this. Fill in your slope, fill in your x-intercept for x1 and y1. But hopefully you tried it, and you should get y minus 0 equals 9. That's your slope. Minus -2, remember, is going to change to a plus 2. That's your point slope form. Slope intercept, we're going to distribute. 9 times x is 9x. 9 times 2 is 18. Move your 0 over. That's not really going to change anything. Hopefully you've realized that by now, but I'll do it anyway. Plus 0. So slope intercept is y equals 9x plus 18. Okay, what if it tells me that m is 2 and b is 5? All right. Well, hopefully you wrote down in the very first thing right here. What does b really mean? Well, b means your y-intercept, which we know what to do with the y-intercept, right? We change y-intercepts into ordered pairs. So this is my y-intercept, so it's going to be 0, 5, and there's my slope. It's going to work the same way. I'm just going to give you all the answers because I feel like we're good. So point slope is going to be y minus 5. Your slope is 2. And your x1 is 0. That's your point slope. Your slope-intercept after you do all the math is going to be 2x plus 5. So I actually want you to try the math and see if you can get it. If not, you don't get what I got, come over and ask me, call me over and let me help you, or star this so that when I do get to your facility, you remember to ask, hey, I didn't get what you got for number 11. Okay, this time it gives me my slope, and it says the origin. If it ever tells you the origin, that just means you use the ordered pair 0, 0. So here's your x1 and your y1 and your slope, and it's going to work the same way. So y minus y1 is 0, your slope is -3, and x minus your x1 is 0. That's point slope. Slope-intercept, we're going to distribute. So I get -3x. -3 times 0 is still just 0. Add this 0 over, and you still get 0. Now, you can leave it like this, or you don't have to write that 0. You can just write it as y equals -3x. Both ways are perfectly fine. And that's it. So if you'll go try the 5.4 worksheet and let me know if you need help.